One of the most counterintuitive things about meaningful support is that the key is not problem solving, but to give them permission to feel as bad as they do about the problem that they're facing. Ahoy, it's your boy. And it's been about a week since I've even shot a video. But as I kind of got home a little early tonight, and I'm taking it easy, thought it might be a good chance to shoot one of these videos. Last time I was talking about my friend who was kind of in between jobs, wasn't sure about the future. You can go back and watch the other video if you want, but really the thrust of my advice for that person or anybody who feels lost in their life is to just follow your heart. The thing I've been thinking about lately is kind of related to that, and it has to do with looking for help in your life, looking for support. It may take me a little bit of talking to get to the point I'm trying to make here, but just go on this ride with me. I think you'll see where this is going. But I want to talk about what to look for when you're looking for support. One of the most common forms of support that people look for is therapy. And I'm a huge advocate for therapy. A lot of people are now. It's kind of a very trendy thing to talk about, especially when you're on dating profiles. One thing that you see women put a lot is they're looking for a guy who's been to therapy, someone who's done the work, as they say. You know, and I've been in therapy for maybe 14 years now. And for a couple of those years, I went twice a week. So I'm not knocking therapy. But I do think that people have a kind of misunderstanding about what therapy is. People approach therapy as if it's like emotional, personal training. Like a personal trainer who you go to the gym and you work out and maybe you step on the scale for them every week, that you're going to go in, you're going to start talking about the problems, they're going to give you some solutions, and they're just going to make sure that you show up every week and are doing the work, so to speak. Therapy's not that at all. Or at least I don't think good therapy is that at all. There may be elements of that, but that's really not what a therapeutic relationship is. And that's the key word. It's a relationship. And when you take problems to a good therapist, they shouldn't really tell you what to do. In fact, a lot of people go to therapy and they're very disappointed at first. You know, people will tell me, oh, I did therapy. And I'll say, well, how long did you go for? I went for a month or 2 weeks. And that's fine. But if you were asking someone about a relationship and they asked, oh, have you ever been in a serious relationship? And they said, yeah, well, what's the longest relationship you've been in? A couple weeks? A couple months? How well do you know someone after a couple months? More importantly, how well does someone know you after a couple months? In fact, one thing I've thought about recently, anyone who's been in a long-term relationship will tell you that for the first year, at least, everybody's on their best behavior. Everybody's watching what they're saying, you know, letting things slide, being, you know, trying to be the best version of themselves that they possibly can be. And it's not that they're liars necessarily, but there are just depths of themselves that nobody's comfortable sharing within a year, sometimes within 2 years. There may be parts of yourself that even in your romantic relationships, you never fully feel comfortable sharing about yourself or discussing. And if you can't do that in your romantic relationships, imagine how difficult that's going to be in a therapeutic relationship where you're supposed to be sharing everything. And like I said, I've been in therapy for 12 to 14 years. I love my therapist. And even then, there were things I was sitting on for 2 years before I even brought them up. And every day I would show up, no, in the back of my mind, I should be talking about this, but it was too scary. It was too vulnerable. I was feeling a lot of shame. I was scared that I was going to be judged. And that's what therapy is. It's a relationship. And you need little revelations, little sharing, little vulnerabilities. And you're clocking, you're gauging how this person's responding to you. And it's only after they've proven themselves to you, and it could be over the course of a year, 2 years, maybe even more, that you build up the courage and based on your experience with this person, that, oh, I can finally share these things that I'm scared to talk about. I'm kind of losing the plot here. Let me see if I can back up into this point another way. My friend here in Taiwan, who was kind of the subject of our last discussion, was planning to have dinner with friends last night, I think it was. And one of the reasons is that she's been kind of going through a hard time, but one of her, I think it's her sister's friend, was a therapist and thought, hey, let's go to dinner. Let's talk about what's going on and see if we can't, shed some light on the situation or whatever. And they had dinner and it was great. So I'm not saying anything disparaging about the support that this person offered, but it just spurred this conversation that was the catalyst for this video, which is it's hard to find good help, even from your friends, even from people who really care about you, because most of us are enculterated when someone comes to us for support to solve problems. Someone says, hey, I'm dealing with A, B, and C, and it's making me feel X, Y, Z. And so most people say, oh, well, if I can solve the problem, then the feelings go away, right? I'm dealing with ABC, it's making me feel XYZ. So if I solve ABC, then X, Y, and Z take care of themselves. One of the most counterintuitive things about meaningful support is that the key is not problem solving. Although it seems like the pressing issue is finding a solution to whatever problem you're dealing with, real support is not helping someone solve problems, but to give them permission to feel as bad as they do about the problem that they're facing. Rather than solving the problem so that the painful feelings disappear, we need to sit in and validate the painful feelings. And the problem usually takes care of itself. Because the truth is, most people have all the insight in the world that they need. People think they're going to go to therapy and have some consciousness-raising insight about themselves or their life. And that does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. People do have paradigm-shifting insights into that totally, they confront and have to redefine what they thought their childhood was. You know, people go into therapy all the time and say, oh, I had a perfect childhood. Then they start talking about it and see how the person that they're sitting across from starts reacting to what they're hearing, and they go, oh wait, actually, I guess my childhood was crazy. But that is not the cure. Insight is not the barrier. You know, someone who wants to lose 100 pounds or needs to lose 100 pounds, it's no secret what they need to do. Someone who's addicted to heroin and living on the streets, there's no mystery. They have all the insight they need. The barrier that most of us face in our lives is we have all the answers already. The big question is why we're not doing anything about it. And the barrier is having our feelings validated. We're not looking for solutions. We're looking, secretly, we're all looking for someone to let us know that it's okay to feel as bad about things as we feel. I worked for a long time as a crisis line counselor, speaking with people who were living with thoughts of suicide or really all sorts of mental health challenges. And although I was on the lines for most of my time there, I spent the vast majority of my last few years there was spent training our volunteers. One of the hardest things to train volunteers about is to change their perspective from solving problems to just being emotionally available and present for people. I'm sort of losing the plot here, but I think the point what this is really boiling down to is this idea, like if you're looking for support in your life, because so many of the people who are willing to support us are enculterated with this problem-solving mindset, it's very easy for us to just kind of get in line with that momentum and sit across from people who are genuinely trying to help us. It's not a bad thing. They're doing the best they can. And we hear their advice and we smile and nod at it and we promise to take it. But at the end of the day, we leave those interactions feeling disappointed because we know we're not, even if we don't know it on a conscious level, we know in our hearts that we're not really getting what we need. Which is we just want someone to sit and listen to us and remind us that we're not feeling this way because we're crazy. Although I don't want to live like this forever, the situation I'm actually experiencing is not something that needs to be solved. It needs to be validated. I need to be reminded that this is a normal response. And so I guess I just want to say, if you're looking for support in life, you're welcome to take as much advice as people will offer. I'm not going to tell you not to do that, but I just want to challenge you to also, you know, as you're looking for a therapist, prepare yourself, brace yourself for it to take longer than you think. And the real value of therapy, no matter how many close friends you have, no matter how many, you may have a great relationship, you may have great family members, you may have great friends who you can, quote, say anything to. But at the end of the day, some of those people are the problem. Your girlfriend or your friends, they may be there for you, but then who do you go to talk to when they're the problem? You know, there's this old, I don't know where it comes from, but this idea like indigenous Americans, they could go out into the woods and dig a little hole in the ground and whisper their secret and cover it up. And that was like the safe space where they could keep their secrets. And that's what therapy is. It's a truly dispassionate third-party person. I feel like I'm losing both my poignancy and my clarity here, but I think the point I'm just trying to say is, real support in my experience is very counterintuitive. It's not problem solving. It's emotional availability and validation. And, even hearing a video like this, I think that's something that can click for a lot of people, but it takes a lot of time to practice and really ingratiate that into how we show up for people. And even for someone like me who was a crisis counselor who practiced this and taught this skill for maybe 6 or 7 years, I still, all the time, I would find myself slipping into this problem-solving mode. And those were always the least productive calls that I had on the crisis lines. Anyway, not sure if that was very clear. That's just a topic that's been on my mind, something I've been thinking about. And yeah, people seem to like these sort of late night contemplative videos, so I hope to do more of them. Until then, thanks for listening, thanks for your time, and ciao for now.